Welcome back to Goodnight Lighthouse. I'm Miss Dorothy, and I'm here to read you another story. Another Christmas story. Remember, we're counting our way down to Christmas. We just read some really great books about Christmas trees. And now we're going to start to talk about the reindeers, because this book is called Dasher. Dasher. Who is Dasher? Dasher is one of Santa's reindeers, but he wasn't always one of Santa's reindeers. And we need to get into this book and find out how Dasher became one of Santa's reindeers. Are you ready to get inside this book with Miss Dorothy? Good. I need you to sit up and listen up, because here we go.
Dasher, written by Matt Tavares. Life was not easy for the reindeer family of J.P. Finnegan's traveling circus and menagerie. They spent long days crammed together under the hot sun as endless stream of curious people jostled to catch a glimpse of them. Wow, those reindeers are part of a circus, and people really like to come see them. Even at night there was little rest. Some nights, to pass the time, Mama would tell stories. "It was a magical place," she would say. "The air was crisp and cold, and the ground was always covered with a cool blanket of white snow. Your father and I were free to roam under the glow of the North Star." Oh, Mama's telling them stories about when she lived at the North Pole. Dasher, the youngest reindeer, loved Mama's story. Is that the North Star, Mama?" she asked. "The very same," Mama said. "We always knew we were home when it was directly overhead." "Oh, I wish we could go there," said Dasher. Mama sighed. "Oh, I do too," she said. "But Mr. Finnegan is not kind to animals who try to escape. Oh no, Mr. Finnegan does not sound like a nice owner." Day after day, under the watchful eye of Mr. Finnegan, the reindeer family delighted crowds wherever they went. Dasher liked being with her family, and she loved meeting so many children who were always kind to her. Sometimes they even fed her carrots, which were her very favorite food. But at night, while the others were sleeping, she would lie awake, gazing at the bright star on the horizon, wishing for crisp, cold air and cool blankets of white snow. Dasher likes what she does, but she can't help to think about what it's like at the North Pole. One night, mighty winds shook the circus tents and rattled the animals' cages. Dasher was wide awake, wishing on the North Star, when she was startled by a loud creak. The gate to their pen had swung open. Dasher could hear rustling from inside Mr. Finnegan's trailer. She glanced up at the North Star. She looked back at her sleeping family. She knew this might be her only chance. Her heart pounded. She took a deep breath, and then she ran as fast as she could. Dasher's going to try and get to the North Pole? Wow. On she went for hours with the North Star as her guide. But no matter how far she traveled, it was still way, way off on the horizon. Oh my, can she make it all the way to the star? Dasher began to wonder if she would ever make it there. She thought about turning back, but she couldn't remember the way. She didn't know what to do. She looked up at the North Star and made a wish. Just then, Dasher heard something in the distance, a soft jingling coming from the woods. What did she hear? There in the clearing, Dasher saw a man and a horse. I'm sorry, Santa," said the horse. "The sleigh is just so heavy this year." The man smiled. "Oh, now don't you worry, Silverbell," he said. "We'll take all the breaks you need." "But the children," said the horse. "They'll be heartbroken if we can't deliver all these toys by Christmas morning." "Children?" thought Dasher. She stepped forward. Maybe I could help," she said. "Dasher's going to go talk to Santa Claus?" "Hello there," said the man. Dasher walked closer. The man smiled. "Have you ever pulled a sleigh?" he asked. Dasher shook her head. "I've never even seen a sleigh," she said. "But I pull a wagon just about every night."
"Well," said the man, "how would you like to make a whole bunch of children really happy on Christmas morning?"
"Oh, I would love that very, very much," said Dasher.
Santa thanked Dasher and attached her harness. It was soft against her fur, and its jingling bells made the most beautiful sound she had ever heard. Santa climbed into the sleigh. Dasher pulled with all her might. Then suddenly the load felt lighter. Dasher looked down.
They were flying! Oh, how did that happen?
All night, Dasher and Silverbell pulled Santa's sleigh through the air as Santa guided it from rooftop to rooftop, delivering toys to children everywhere. Dasher had never experienced such a thrill, and she ate so many carrots. She felt like she would burst. She was having so much fun, she forgot all about the North Star. Wow, she's helping Santa. At the first light of dawn appeared on the horizon, they landed. The air was crisp and cold. The ground was covered with a cool blanket of white snow. Dasher searched for the North Star on the horizon, but couldn't find it anywhere. Santa smiled. "Dasher," he said, "look up." And there it was, directly overhead.
Is that the North Star?" she asked.
Santa's eyes twinkled. "Merry Christmas," he said, "and welcome home." The North Pole was just as wonderful as Mama's stories. Dasher roamed wherever she pleased, and Santa gave her all the carrots she wanted. But something was missing.
"I love it here," she told Santa, "but I miss my family.
I wish we could be together." Santa smiled. "That's your best wish yet, Dasher," he said. "Let's go find them." Late that night, Dasher guided Santa's sleigh all the way to J.P. Finnegan's traveling circus and menagerie.
"Mama, Papa," Dasher whispered, "everyone wake up."
Mama lifted her head.
"Dasher," she said, "is it really you?" "It's me, Mama," said Dasher.
She told her family all about Santa and Silverbell and how the North Pole was just amazing as Mama has stories.
"But I missed you," she said. "You were all I wished for."
Dasher led her family to Santa's sleigh, and Santa attached their harness.
"You're not going to believe this part," she said.
She's getting them ready for what's coming next. Because they were all about to fly. When Christmas Eve arrived, Silverbell watched as Santa prepared his team.
"Are you sure you don't want to come?" asked Dasher. "I'm sure," said Silverbell. "I know the 8 of you will do a fine job."
Now Santa has all his reindeers. Late that night, as Santa and his new team of reindeers soared around the world, he called them by name for the very first time.
"Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, on Blitzen."
On Christmas morning, after all the toys had been delivered, they flew back to the North Pole, where they still lived happily today. There the air is crisp and cold. The ground is always covered with a cool blanket of white snow. And Dasher has everything she ever wished for.
Wow, that was such a great book. I loved that. Dasher was a little reindeer in a family that lived in a not really great place with not really nice people. And his mom kept telling him stories about what it was like at the North Pole where Santa lived and how he would get there if he would just follow the North Star. And Dasher decided one night to do that. And he went off on his own, which made me a little nervous. But then he did find his way to the North Star, and he did find his way to Santa, just like he had always wished for. And he wished that he would see his family again, and they could all be together. And then that happened. Santa went to get him, and now we have all the reindeers, The whole reindeer family, ready to fly Santa around so that tired horse doesn't have to do it anymore. What a great book. That's how Dasher became one of the reindeers for Santa. That's how he got all of his reindeers. That was exciting. What a fun story. And weren't those pictures beautiful? I just loved that book. That was a really beautiful book. I hope we can find out more about Dasher sometime and his family and what it's like to live on the North Pole. Maybe Dorothy can find a book like that. We'll see, okay? I'll go look. But not tonight. Tonight, it's time for all my little reindeers to get to bed because Christmas is coming and it can't get here if we don't go to sleep every single night as we're counting our way down to Christmas. So I need all my little reindeers to get under your covers, get cuddled up, curled up, ready for a really good night's sleep. And whatever you do tomorrow, don't wander off like Dasher did. I mean, I'm glad things worked out for him, but it wasn't a smart thing to do. Never leave without Mom and Dad knowing where you're going. Very important. And another very important thing to do now, and every day as we work our way to Christmas, obey, and obey right away. And then come back and see Miss Dorothy, because I'm going to be right here, ready to read another Christmas book to you. Bye!
Thanks for reading with Miss Dorothy. I hope you enjoyed this book, and I hope you'll come back soon to read another. What's your favorite book? Drop Miss Dorothy a note and let me know. I'll go find it and I'll read it to you. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you soon.